Well, hello there. Welcome to the Build Show. Hey, Jeff. Jeffrey. First in the chat on YouTube. Hurricane Gamer over there on the Twitch side. Anarchist Healing. Welcome to the Build Show. Right Guy. Hey. Welcome back to the Build Show. Let me shoot Tony a text. Make sure he's here. Or at least he knows we're live. Welcome. I'm your host, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, and today we're going to be building another PC. We're actually going to continue building this PC that we started building on Tuesday. And we found out that Tony had a bent pin on his motherboard, so he took the motherboard back and he was able to get us a new motherboard yesterday. So now we're back to building this PC for Tony. Let's see here. Just sending Tony a quick text to make sure he knows we're live. Okay. So, if you don't remember this build, it was actually a B760 motherboard that he originally had. So it looks like he got himself an upgrade with a Z790 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. He's also got an i5 14600K, which we pulled out of the motherboard with the bent pins. And then we've got 32 gigabytes of DDR5, 6000 megahertz CL36. This is Corsair Vengeance RGB. And then we have a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Evo Plus PCIe Gen 4 SSD. We've also got the Thermalright contact frame for LGA 1700. We have a Corsair AIO that we're going to be installing, reinstalling, because it was actually already installed. It just, some of the fans weren't plugged in all the way, so I took it out and corrected it. And they're daisy chained on the back, so it was really a lot easier to deal with it when I pulled it out of the case. The power supply is actually already in the case because we did that on Tuesday as well, so pretty much everything's good to go, except for we just got to assemble it. So it's an 850 watt power supply, a 360 millimeter AIO, and a RTX 5060 Ti that we're going to be building with tonight. It was a Z79 that just exchanged it? Okay, got it. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if it was a B650 or a Z790. So, perfect. That works great. What's up? Good, because gotta save out. You made it. Yes, we do, LOL. People over on Twitch saving up their points so they can force me to do weird things. So, okay. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. If anybody's curious about the specs in the build, I did update the ! Build command in the chat, so it'll spit out all the specs for you in the chat. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into this build. We can get started by opening the brand new Z790 motherboard. Look at that. Nice and new. We shouldn't have any bent pins. Which means we should have a fully functional PC by the end of this night. Can't remember if we're going to need any of these. I don't think we do. I'm just going to leave that like so, and then we're actually just going to use the motherboard box for a landing zone for all the components that come out of the build. No pins, no hair. Well, I don't know about the no hair part. We've got hair floating around here too. I have a lot of hair. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in here. Hey, Lee and Ron over on the Facebook. Thank you for the likes. And AA Ron. Appreciate you. So, welcome to the build show, Robert. Shiny. I know, it's shiny and new. So we should have 0 bent pins. Let's go ahead and check that. And put the new CPU, the 14. Nobody saw that. The 14600K inside the socket. So that way, we know that the pins are going to stay safe. Pins look absolutely pristine. Thank you, Carter, over on the Facebook for the like over there. Let's go ahead and drop this into the socket. There we are. So CPU is going to stay there. It's nice and smooth. No bent pins. What I'm going to do now is actually remove the contact frame. I put the CPU in over the pins while we do this to protect the pins. So now I'm going to remove the stock brackets. Or the stock frame, whatever you want to call this thing. But the reason why I put the CPU on there is so we don't damage it or chance dropping a screw or something into the socket, and it keeps the pins safe. So next, I'm immediately going to put the contact frame over the CPU. This contact frame was actually previously used, but still in perfectly good shape. That's why it might be a little discolored. It's from thermal paste. Then we're gonna start to screw this down. There we are. So now the CPU is secured. It is not going to go anywhere, and the pins are safe. So we can go ahead and put these over here in the hardware kit, which is all the hardware that's going to be coming with the PC. Yes, we are. Oh no. 1.5 now. Oh boy. Yeah, it really depends on how mean you want to be. What's up, Onra? Welcome back to the build show. Oh, hey, I got that motherboard for my case building project. $45. RAM slot 4 is damaged. Nice. But works just fine otherwise. If it's DDR5, and if it's this slot, most of the time you don't even use it. If it's, or you know what, I'm sorry. If it's one of these two slots, you don't really use it. So this one here or this one here. But this one and the middle one here, we do use. Alright, so now that that's installed, let's go ahead and actually install the RAM. This is 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 MHz CL36, Corsair Vengeance. RGB. So, takes a little bit of pressure to pop those in. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the heatsink, which is a big chunk of metal with a thermal pad underneath it. We're going to remove that. We can install our M.2 NVMe SSD Gen 4. Which didn't want to fit perfectly, so it took a little bit of a juggling act to get this thing to fit. But we got it. Now that that is actually installed, we peeled the peel off the thermal pad and try to line this up. And then this is usually a good time to peel any peels or stickers that we have. So I'm going to peel the sticker off the PCIe slot that we're going to be using for the graphics card. And I don't see any other stickers anywhere else on the board, so that's pretty much it. Next, we're going to get the CPU cooler hardware ready, which is a back plate for the motherboard. We're just going to go ahead and put that on there, flip it over, and put our studs in for our CPU cooler. This is what the block will mount to when we go to install the block over the top of the CPU for the AIO. Hey, what's up, chat nerds? Welcome back to the Build Show. Mexican Dom, hello. Welcome to the Build Show, sir. What's up, Godzen? Welcome back to the Build Show. Been a while? It has been a minute. But welcome back. Alright, so now that we have the hardware installed, we can go ahead and grab the case and drop this into the case. Which, if you were here on Tuesday, you would have seen that we already partially prepped the case. Oh, maybe I should zoom out. Probably a good idea. Yeah. And reposition the camera just a little bit. There we go. So if you were here on Tuesday, you would have known a little bit more about this build. This build came in and the motherboard was actually already in there. The CPU is in, RAM, everything was pretty much installed, including the cooler. But there was quite a few things we had to undo, and we found out the motherboard had bent pins, so we had to send that back and get a replacement. So there is a lot already done. For example, our power supply is already installed here, and we have all of our cables back here. So we're going to be dealing with that while we're moving forward, which is okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the motherboard in because we are ready for that. Let's go ahead and install that. And then I already have the screws over here for the motherboard because we removed those on Tuesday's stream. They're just sitting here ready to go. Intel all day. It is an Intel build. 9070X all day. Oh boy. New to the PC world, trying to learn. Well, it's a good place to learn. We also have a Discord channel if you haven't joined already. Feel free to join. Lots of questions are asked in the Discord channel. That's usually a good place to, you know, put any questions or problems that you have. Of course, you're more than welcome to ask them here on the channel while we're streaming as well. But in the event that you have a question while we're not streaming, the Discord channel is a really good place to drop that question. Okay, so we got the motherboard installed. We got all our screws. Next, I'm going to start plugging in our power connectors for our 24-pin, our EPS, and all of our front panel connectors and fans. And I might... Actually, you know, I'm going to install that last because I remember the cooler was a little tight. And I'm talking about the rear fan. We'll do that last. Alright, so we've got, just to recap, 24-pin, 2 8-pin EPS cables. We have USB-C, USB 3, front panel, and HD audio, plus our fans. That's what we're going to hunt for. This one right here is actually our fan cable. Do we have a spot down here? Sure we do. Yes. We have a spot right here, actually. So I'm going to run that over to here. Maybe. There we go. And then this is all of our front panel stuff. So, USB-C, USB 3 and USB-C. Our HD audio. And then our front panel. Power button. Next, we're going to route our 24-pin. Is this guy? Big one? We'll route that one up here as well, because we know we got to get that plugged in. And then there should be 2 EPS cables. 2 8-pin EPS cables somewhere. One of them. One. Here's 2. 2 8-pin EPS cables. We'll go ahead and run. Want to make sure they're nice and tidy. Alright. About as tidy as it's going to get. Then we'll get that tidied up later. So, first things first. Doesn't have to be first, but I'm making it first. Our USB 3.0, your USB-C header. And the next is our USB 3.0 header. And then our 24-pin. This is what powers the motherboard. And the next is our 2 EPS power connectors for our CPU. Up here at the top. And then we have the 3 front fans here. We're going to plug it into a system fan header down here at the bottom. And also in the corner is our HD audio. That is our front panel audio connectors. So our AUX on the front. And then our power button. Power reset. Power LEDs. All of those are plugged in and good to go. So next, we can move on to an AIO. Billy Gilbert, Mexican Dom, you came to the right place. There are lots of PC builders, but this dude shows some great details. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. We need a day where we can just full plan. When should that be? Yes. Let me know what that day is, so then I know not to be here that day. Hurricane. And so we have our 360mm AIO ready to go here. We just have to sort the cables a little bit and get it mounted. Ugh. Thankfully, they give us some ultra long cables here, which makes installing an AIO very nice, because you can prep it outside of the case, kind of work your way in. Here. This should be our C10 header. The fans on the radiator go into the CPU fan header. Next is the RGB on the fans. This is a 5-volt, 3-pin addressable RGB or rainbow connector. It has 3 pins like this, and it will just connect to the addressable RGB slash rainbow slash whatever motherboard manufacturer calls it these days. But it's 3 pins, it's 5 volts. And it's usually labeled rainbow or addressable or ARGB. And then I'll try to route the cables like that, but for the most part, these are ready to go. We can start actually trying to get this thing fitted. And then we'll pull some of the cables through after the fact. Some leftover thermal paste. And then we just start putting in our radiator screws. These should have been included with your radiator or AIO. Some cases will give you specific screws if their slots are wider than the normal slot. That is weird. Weird how that pulls, as if it's not the right screw. We'll check that here in a bit. Same situation. That is interesting. Actually don't have all of the radiator screws here. Missing quite a few. These I thought were radiator screws or not. Not. I think I have some here. I know I have some here. Okay. Nice. Now that that is mounted, we can pull the rest of these cables through probably with ease. Not really happy about that. We need to close this thing up. Make sure that these pins aren't exposed on that chain. Okay. Now we just need some thermal paste and we're good to go. Currently trying to choose between a pre-built or attempt to build your own. Well, if you would, if you want to go kind of a hybrid route, we do custom builds for people. And we build them live right here. But if you need help picking out a build, I'm happy to help you. Or picking out a hardware for your build, I'm more than happy to help. But it is fun. It's fun putting together your build and the kind of sense of achievement when it's done and it works. Always a good feeling. All right, and then there's one more header that comes with an AIO usually, and that's the pump. That usually comes off the block here. Sometimes it's an inline pump, sometimes it's a pump that's built into the radiator. But this one is coming off the block, so the pump is most likely in the block. So we'll go ahead and mount that. That goes to your AIO or pump header. Whatever your motherboard has labeled it. Bring the microphone over here so I could talk into it. go. Then we just have these cables to deal with. I'm just adding some zip ties here to clean up this cable on the front side. Anything on the front, really want the cables to stay nice. Or keep the cables nice and clean. Now this can be pulled so it will blend very nicely with the board. You'll barely be able to notice that there's a cable there. Yeah? Good. I've been watching too many YouTube videos. Was going to do a $500 build, but now I'm having second thoughts on saving more for even better build. Yeah. So really depends on what you want to do with your PC or what you want to be able to do with your PC, because sure, you could build a PC for 500 bucks, but is it going to be able to do everything, or is it going to have a great upgrade path later on? Probably not. You're probably using previous generation parts or hardware, which is going to make your future upgrades more difficult or more expensive. So when you go to upgrade, let's say a CPU, you find out, oh, to get to the next generation CPU, I actually have to upgrade my motherboard, my CPU, and my RAM, which is basically, at that point, almost a whole PC, minus the graphics card, power supply, and storage in the case. And you might even have to upgrade your cooler if you didn't save your hardware. So I always recommend saving your hardware, depending on, it's just always a good thing to do, because for example, each cooler that comes with the cooler will have two different types of hardware, one for Intel, one for AMD, and sometimes they'll even have some additional for other sockets, such as Threadripper sockets or a different type of Intel socket. So it's always good to keep your hardware for your cooler. Hang on to that. Don't throw those out. I've seen a lot of people throw them out and then bring me their PC and they're like, yeah, I don't have the cooler hardware anymore. And I'm like, well, in order for us to put this AMD motherboard in from changing from Intel, we have to have the hardware. So if we don't have the hardware, you either have to find it or we have to buy a new cooler. Because, I'm not going to track down a specific unless they can. I'm more than happy to wait if they want to do that, but it's just one of those things, people don't really think of, they get rid of, they think they'll need it, but sometimes that happens actually a lot more than you think. YouTube isn't doing that, just Twitch. What's up? Hey, what's up, Ink? Welcome back to the Build Show, Mrs. Tuna. Hey, Roy, welcome back to the Build Show as well, Mr. Tuna. Case makers need to design a bracket where the AIO slides in like a disk drive. So I think a couple of manufacturers have tried that, or something similar to that. Leon Lee did the whole, hey, mount the bracket to the top and then slap the bracket on. That made the installation process super easy because you're just putting a bracket on the cooler or on the radiator on the outside of the case and then just slapping it in, and it's like it's 1 or 2 screws that hold it in from there. So it makes it super easy and convenient to be able to pull the AIO in and out with the bracket on if you had to remove the radiator, because it's only 2 screws instead of the what is it, 12. So it's just 2 screws to remove a radiator if you needed to. Comes with the bracket, of course. But hey Grand, welcome back to the build show. All right, I'll drop by. I drop by way too much for a like before bed. I think need to be home earlier more. No worries, man. Mexican Dom, hey, yeah, I've been watching a lot of step-by-step guides, and I feel way more confident than before. That's great. Yeah, watching videos, any type of repetition is probably gonna really help you kind of learn the base. I think what a lot of times people struggle with is understanding the components. For example, a 14th, 13th, and 12th generation CPU goes with a 600 series or 700 series chipset for Intel, and understanding kind of that combination and what works and what doesn't. That's why a lot of tools like there's a lot of tools on the internet available, or websites that'll help you with compatibility and stuff like that. But it's gotten a lot easier than it used to if you didn't know what you're doing. So or you could just, you know, drop in somebody's Discord channel or stream like mine and hang out and ask questions. So, and if you want somebody to review kind of your parts list, something that you want to consider is how future-proof do you want to build your PC, and then that kind of determines your cost. Upgrade path is the plan these days. Exactly. That's what I try to do for every build, but there's still times where our budget's just too tight and we want to maximize performance, so we go to aim 4 instead of aim. Having loading issues, buddy. It's going off and on both on having loading issues, buddy. It's going off and on both on Twitch and YouTube now. All right, let me look into that. I have 0 dropped frames on OBS. My ping times are solid. Not having any internet troubles. I'm not having any drop frames in OBS. I'm only at 50% on the CPU and 65% of 64 gigs of RAM. I'm not sure. Not sure what the problem is. It's not my PC. And it's not my internet. So is it still doing it, guys? Yeah, it happened to me twice. Thought it was me. Yeah, it looks like we're dropping viewers now too. My RAM is at 50% when I stream, I think. Yeah, and I don't know, it goes off and on. Is it still doing it to everybody? Is it cutting in and out? If that's the case, I could stop the stream and restart it. I hate doing that, but hasn't happened again after those two. It's not doing it now. Huh. Well, I'm not sure why it was doing it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm I've got no dropped frames on Streamlabs, unless it was an internet blip from my ISP. Just the audio for some reason. So the audio is cutting out? It was lagging like 10 seconds ago for you, Hurricane, over on Twitch. Like I'm there, but the music and you cut out. Yeah, I've got a monitor running for the audio. So my PC is recording the audio and I can see it broadcasting, you know, when I'm talking or when the music's playing. So I have the monitors up and none of that stops. So it's got to be something to do with YouTube or Twitch or my ISP. But if it was the ISP, the entire frame would drop, meaning it would probably cut out for you, the screen, the video feed would cut out. And Streamlabs hasn't recorded a single dropped frame. So it's got to be something on YouTube's done, or Twitch, or my internet. So maybe it was the internet. But then Streamlabs would have told me there were some dropped frames. I don't know. I'm weirded out. Don't know what to say. And now it's lagging again. There's nothing that's changed. All right, let me pull up a thingamabopper and test. Oh. Yeah, we're having it. I see it now. Yeah, I see it. I think we're having some internet issues right now. Comcast Business. A 99.9% uptime. Guaranteed. LOL. So all I did was a basic ping, which is I pulled up command prompt and then I just started pinging Google with a ping 8.8.8.8 minus T, and it starts pinging packets back and forth to Google, and it's getting hung up here. So there is definitely something going on with the internet, maybe. But now it's fine. I haven't seen a drop packet since. There it goes again. It's almost like you're cursing like a South Park character and it's muting every cursed word. Bleep you, Kyle. I don't know why it's always Kyle. Well, do you guys want me to keep going? Because I don't know how to fix this, other than getting on the phone to Comcast and cursing them. Good night. Yeah, I haven't seen a single drop packet since. It's because of Kyle's mom. Does it like every 30 seconds. Man. Here, let me... I could try closing out some stuff. Is that getting any better? Dude, just go. We could deal with some lag. Who cares, Billy? Alrighty. Billy says just go. The lag will be lag. So, let's go ahead and get started. Again. Alright. Kind of forgetting where I was. But, oh yeah, we just finished installing the cooler. So, we could drop a card in here. Shall we? You know what, before we do the card, this is the card that we are installing. Is the Gaming Trio by MSI. GeForce RTX 5060 Ti. And this is the 16 gigabyte model. But before we do that, we need to add the rear fan. Couldn't add it before because it was too tight of a squeeze for the radiator. I'm going to stand this up temporarily so I can route the cable. And then get a couple of fan screws, and then we'll get this mounted. I think I saw a bunch of them in here. I did. Oh, this is where all the radiator screws are too. Thanks. Don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. Okay. I'm just going to mount this as low as possible. Just to get as much clearance from the AIO as possible. It's up there. Then, while we have this here in this position, I'm gonna try to get this tied up here somehow. Because these are drooping down and I don't like that. No drooping on us. Something to hold it up. That'll work nicely there. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with the front panel, or the top panel. And I can get this plugged in as well. So plugging this fan in here, I'm gonna go to the fan. Or you know what? Go to that top one up here. Work nicely. Now we can go ahead and put a card in now that we have this in here to help with some draw the airflow towards the back of the case here. Why I wanted it in there. Do the 5060 Ti unbox. Don't think Plugger Score is gonna make some points for our plan. Oh damn. Billy Gilbert sent 10 gift memberships. Thank you, Billy. Very nice of you. Uncle Bama received. John Paul received one. Bryson, Blind Tech, William, Tony Hay, Top Sauce, Hostrup. Some of these names I can't even say. Typical viewer, I only picked it up new for 168 US dollars. Wait, what? What'd you pick up? RTX 5060 Ti, dang, happy with my RTX 3050. Yes, actually you can find the 3050 as low as, in some areas, $120 used open box. And this is what the customer chose, so this is what we're going with. Careful dropping. Yes, I will be very gentle dropping the card in, Robert. It's a very poor choice of words, isn't it? This is an all black build. This is all black except for the AIO has some RGB fans up at the top. So it will have some RGB lighting. But thank you, Billy Gilbert, for all of those gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Mexican Dom, I wish I went the PC route instead of getting a gaming laptop in 2020. Would have helped out a ton with this current market. It would have helped at least something. I mean, you can still sell your laptop, so you have some value there. Looks like we have a peg for support, which is kind of cool. I like that. See what we can do with that. And I'm trying to save all of the packaging for him because he bought all the hardware. And if he wants to take any of these boxes back, I want to make sure it has everything for the packages. For example, the anti-static bag. So I'm going to put that back in here. And I pulled the rest of the hardware, just put it in another box. But here it is, the RTX 5060 Ti Gaming X Trio, or the Gaming Trio, right? Gaming Trio, no X. Time to peel the peels. Crap. Really shiny, cool dragon there. What's his name? Lucky? MSI Dragon? All right, so 2 screws. And it is using the 16-pin 12-volt high power connector. Yo, I just installed a new CPU and fan into my computer, and I found this system. Or found the stream. Oh, nice. Cool. Would you upgrade from, and would you upgrade to? Why am I having so much trouble getting this screw in here? Venomous Toad, welcome back to the build show, sir. What's up? Long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while, brother. Where's a good place to get a 5090 MSRP? I swear they're all like yeah, men of the world. Venomous, are you local? I can't remember. But Micro Center is going to probably be the best pricing. Or Best Buy. But Micro Center is probably better. Hey Mike, next time I'm buying an AMD CPU and GPU, I'm done with Intel. Oh boy. There's still time if you want me to swap it out, Michael. Or Mike. Nah, I wish I just got an above average fan. What do you mean? Typical viewer, dang, that CPU is hot. So Intel Core i9 14900KF. That's not that hot. Actually, no, that is pretty hot. That one does run typically warm. Thermalright Phantom Spirit. So if you guys are not familiar with the Phantom Spirit is very similar to I think this actually goes with... I'm not mistaken. Anyway, the Phantom Spirit is very similar to the Peerless Assassin by Thermalright. So it's a pretty good cooler. And I upgraded from the i5. I don't know what my old fan was though. Washington State, you don't have a Micro Center. Well, if you need help, look at the Micro Center over here in Madison Heights, Michigan. Look at their inventory and let me know if you see anything you need there. And that's what I can offer to do for you, is help you get one from there. Of course, I'm only limited to like buying one. They limit me to purchasing things there because I've bought in quite a bit of stuff from them. Yes. And I think that goes for a lot of the big time people because they think I'm buying it and then reselling it for profit when I'm not really doing that. I'm building PCs. I've even showed them my YouTube channel and like whatever. The new district manager there put the kibosh on me having unlimited access to everything. So I'm limited, but I could definitely get you a 5090 right now. I haven't really gotten one there in a while. I bought an AMD at first, but I returned it because it didn't fit my motherboard and I didn't feel like getting a new one. Oh, so you had an Intel motherboard and you tried to install, or you got an AMD processor. Yes. So when you're going from Intel to AMD, it is going to require a motherboard change. And in some cases, depending on the generation of Intel, you might have to also change your motherboard for that as well. So just keep that in mind when you go to your next upgrade. But the 14900KF is basically, other than like 2 other CPUs, it's basically the best CPU that you could put in your socket. So the next CPU you go to get, you're probably going to need a new motherboard. That's going to Durdo. Durdo? Mexican Dom. I was gonna do a $500 PC build, but now I'm thinking of doing 750-800. I think the sweet spot for a entry level, middle of the road entry, I'd say entry 1440p. I wouldn't say entry level. Entry level is probably more in the $600, $800 range. entry level to 1440p performance is going to be in the 1400 range, and then you start climbing into more of a mid-range computer, gaming PC. Once you start getting into 2000 plus, and then once you start hitting 3000, you're in high end. 3000, 4000, 5000, high end, and then there's the extreme level, which is, well, I've got a 5090 and a Threadripper and whatever, you know, you're just blowing money. You could just buy 2 cars for the same price. I live in Michigan. I've been to that Micro Center. Cool how they have laptop batteries and toner ink, but so far away from where I live. Logan, I hear you. They're only about 30, the Madison Heights, Michigan location is about 30 minutes from me, so it's pretty easy for me to swing down there if you need me to grab something that's flying off the shelves. Hey Loop, welcome back to the kick. Sorry I missed your chat over there, but our white case is fading out these days. Black is what everyone wants. I don't know. I've done a pretty even split between black and white cases lately. I feel like, but yes, this has been, I think we've been on a black kick for a while for the cases. Monica, is it Monica? Is that how it, that's the first time I've ever seen that spelled that way. Of course, it runs great with 1400K. I've got a 5070 Ti paired with a 14600K. It works perfectly. Nice. Okay, I'm here. Darn it. Welcome back to the build show, sir. We're almost done with the build. All right, so let's go ahead and get our power plugged in for the graphics card, and then we'll flip it back over and finish up the cable management for Tony, and then we can finally fire this thing up and see if it posts for him this time, since we don't have any more bent pins. And this is a 16-pin, 12-volt high-power connector, which they make the pins on Corsair really bright yellow. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they make the pins very bright yellow, so when you plug it in, if you see any yellow kind of sticking out, for example, let's say you plugged it in and you feel like you plugged it in all the way, but if you see a little bit of yellow there, then it's not actually plugged in all the way, and that's why Corsair made those pins yellow. So, kind of smart of them to do. So let me push it in all the way, and now there's no more yellow. So that's how you can confirm, or one way with a Corsair power supply, that you've plugged in your 12-volt high-power cable all the way. So let me go ahead and zoom back out. And then we can finish up the cable management. Almost there, guys. Oh. Whoa, the cooler is huge for a 60 class card. Yeah, it is. Crap. The Velcro popped out. Hold on, guys. Speaking of cable management, when I was removing my old fan, I had to cut some zip ties from the manufacturer because it was pre-built, and I cut my hand putting too much force into the scissors. Oh, you should not be using scissors to cut these. There are cutters, but scissors are very difficult because they're not pointy enough to grip these. They don't like to, anyway, very easily, and they slip if you don't get a good bite. So yes, cutting yourself with scissors while trying to cut these zip ties is very possible. Sorry that happened. I don't use scissors, I actually use these, which I got from Micro Center, but they're basically wire cutters, but I use them for my tie cutters, and they work very nicely. They have really pointy ends. So I can really get in there and undo a zip tie very easily with these without slipping or cutting. And they cut very nicely, very easily. Alright, I think that is all the ties, minus the spare power supply cables that we'll stuff down here. Two big zip ties for that. Upgrading to a 5700X3D is much better because AIM-4 is limited, unlike AIM-5 platforms that does have future proofing. So upgrading to a 5700X3D is better because AIM-4 is limited, unlike AIM-5. 5700X3D is an AIM-4 processor. Some sharper ones did the trick, LOL. Yes, definitely. They do help. It's an MSI RTX 5060 Ti? Yes, it is. Somebody asking about that? What's up, Mike? Welcome back to the build show, sir. Lethal Wick, welcome back to the build show. It is a 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte. You're wondering about the gigabytes. It might be missing some drops though, so we'll see. Doubtful. That's a joke. Bloody hell. So we can either leave this sitting here or stuff it down here, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and stuff it. Stuff it down in yonder. It's there for future use. All of his power supply cables are in the case, they won't accidentally get misplaced or thrown out, like I've had so many customers do in the past. Hey Jackson, thank you for the sub over there on the YouTube. Appreciate you, sir. Getting secondhand vape over here, sorry. Just a Mr. Vapor Ultra Watermelon Mint nicotine. Something doesn't feel right. All good. And when it's all said and done, this is what we have. Nice and clean cable management. I think that's what Mr. Tony was looking for. We do have a peg that came with the card for GPU support, although I will say it's pretty small, so let's hope it's up there. There we have it. Go ahead and plug it in and fire it up. All right, Tony, let me know when you want me to push this power button. It's all you, bro. Corey Gaming, maybe fun in future. You could build a PC for me. Sure. Welcome to the Build Show. Push it, Antonio says. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the Build Show, we had a post, but it decided to reboot on us, so that was interesting. I think it was waiting for a response on the keyboard there. But ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the Build Show, we have a post. And we're in the BIOS. Don't believe me? There's the BIOS. You can kind of see it, it's faded. But we're posted up. Yeah! That got me nervous. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. It had a message on the screen saying press something to continue, and then it just rebooted on its own. So, like, okay. Apparently, if you don't respond quick enough, the BIOS is like, you know what, I'll just take care of it myself. We did it, team. Some giant idiot. WPC, bruv. Woot woot. Let's effing go. Says Antonio. Now, all we have to do is install Windows, drivers, do the BIOS update, set the RAM speed, set the fan curves, install the Corsair software, deal with MSI Center doing its little spinny for like 18 reboots, and then we're good to go. DDR5 always reboots. It does not. That's like, nah. It does it before the post. It never posts then reboots. Like, it'll start up sometimes and then reboot on you, and then get to the post. I've seen that, yes. But what I haven't seen is posting on the screen and then rebooting, and then we're back to the BIOS. That was kind of weird. But it hasn't done it again, so. Congrats, Tony. Congrats, yes. Tony, your build. It's built. Starts, reboots, the post. Yeah, this started, posted, rebooted, then posted again. So there was 2 posts in that, which was why I was like, oh, that's weird. Good night, all. See you tomorrow, Ben. I'll see you some point tomorrow. Yeah, I probably won't have this ready until later in the evening, Antonio. Tony. I've got some more running around to do tomorrow, unfortunately. If we did get this built Tuesday, I probably would have had it ready to go for you Wednesday. And now that we're later in the week, we're hitting that schedule with other things on the calendar. So unfortunately, it's going to be later in the day or Saturday morning when I have this thing ready to go for you. So, but we'll figure it out. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to build it. It was awesome. And thank you everybody else who has joined us to watch Tony's journey from the beginning of a motherboard with a bent pin, a hair on the CPU cooler, on the copper block and the thermal paste between the CPU and the copper. And what else was it? Some fans that weren't plugged in right. To now we have a fully built PC without bent pins, and we're posting. And the cable management is superb. Superb. Subra. Superb. Looks good, Ben. Thank you, Jesse. But that is all for the build show tonight. If you guys would like to watch another build show, I am going to try to sneak another build in tomorrow night. But it is a big maybe. Originally, I wasn't going to stream at all tomorrow, Saturday, or Sunday. But I'm going to try to sneak a build stream in tomorrow. If it happens, it'll be probably later in the evening after 8 p.m. Eastern time. But if it doesn't happen on Friday, we'll definitely be back live again Monday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Or somewhere around 8 p.m. Eastern time. You know me, I'm hit or miss on the timing. So we have several builds coming in from the week. So we'll have lots of builds to do next week to catch back up. But this is, what do you call it? Father's Day weekend. Yeah. So if you know any dads out there, make sure you say Happy Father's Day this weekend on Sunday. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the night. Unless you guys know anything else, want to do anything else, you want to chat, I could chat for a few. Welcome to PC Gaming, Tony. Many years of great games. This is actually his second PC, so he did have, for those of you who weren't here on Tuesday's stream, actually, he did have another PC, and he was upgrading that PC, and that's what actually triggered him to just build a whole new PC. But what he did do, which is really cool, guys, Tony donated his entire old PC to the channel. So we do have an entire PC, which we built on Tuesday's stream. So if you want to go back and watch that, you can check that out, of a PC that he donated to the channel. So we finished building that, we put some upgrades in it, and then all we got to do is get an upgraded graphics card for the system, which I have one picked out, and I think it's going to be an RX 6600. And then we plan on donating that PC to somebody, giving it away for free. So I haven't figured out where it's going to go, but it's going to go to somebody who needs it. Nice stream to tune in. Goodbye, everyone. Yes, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Follow, like, subscribe. And if you want to join the Discord channel as well, that's a great place to ask a lot of questions, especially if I'm off stream or not here. A lot of cool, very intelligent, smart people in the Discord channel that are happy to help as well. It's a pretty nice community. You can do !Discord in the chat. Thank you, some giant idiot. !Discord in the chat to get the link to the Discord channel. And I am going to shout out two sponsors as well. Dubby, which is !Dubby if you're into mixed water energy drinks, or they have just flavored water options as well. And then I also have Opus Clip. If you're not familiar with what Opus Clip is, it takes long videos such as this stream and automatically automates the process of cutting them up into shorts and puts them and edits them together for us very easily. But that's !Opus. Both of those links support the channel if you do use them. So thank you everybody for joining the channel. And if I don't see you tomorrow night, I will see you Friday. Or I'm sorry, if I don't see you Friday night, I will see you Monday. Blah, 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 blah. Getting my words mixed up here, guys. So have a good night, everybody, and happy Father's Day to the fathers out there if I don't see you. We'll see you, if not Friday, Monday. Take care, guys.